One of the most important leadership attributes that you can have as a leader, more important than integrity and excellence and innovation and creativity and charisma, and all of those things are important and they all make a difference. But more important than all of those is your ability to have self-awareness, right? So self-awareness is when you're able to look in the mirror of your life and you're able to see who you are, your strengths, your weaknesses, your deficits, your gaps, your skills, your abilities, your qualities. Self-awareness is your ability to be able to process what you bring to the table and how you can leverage who you uniquely are in order to move your family or the organization forward or whatever entity it is that you're leading. Now, self-awareness doesn't just happen like in a vacuum all by itself automatically, but self-awareness to a large degree is a result of you engaging in some level of self-exploration. You have to be able to actually take time and stop and look at yourself to see who you are and what's going on inside of you. You have to look under the log of your life, under the rock of your leadership to see what's really crawling underneath there. Now, something that I've experienced and have begun to realize more and more is that so many leaders and individuals who are in leadership positions, most of the time we're just leading from the hip. Like we're just going from one program to the next program, from one project to the next project, from one meeting to the next meeting, not really aware of what's going on and how is my leadership affecting my team? How is my leadership affecting my organization? And is it possible for me to improve and to level up my leadership? In fact, what a lot of leaders fall into is they fall into this trap of blaming other people for the results or for the situation that they're in. And so if my organization or my church or my team is failing, well, it's my team's fault. If somehow we're not meeting our goals or objectives, well, it's the customer's fault or the member's fault. Or if something's not happening right, then it's the external environment, it's the stock market, it's something else, it's the competition, it's the church down the street, it's the school down the street. There's someone else always to blame. And I just want to tell you that when you start blaming other people for what's going on your team, in your own leadership, you know you're on the dark side of leadership and you're on the slippery slope of leadership. And so you have to have a level of self-awareness that is preceded by self-exploration. Now, a lot of times this self-exploration doesn't happen on its own, but you need the feedback of other individuals who are actually looking at you, who can see your blind spots, the areas behind you and in front of you or around you that you can't necessarily see. And this feedback will allow you to have a better perspective of who you are and to have a better understanding of what's going on with your leadership styles and with your leadership approach. And so once you engage in self-exploration then should lead to self-awareness, but you don't want to just stop at self-awareness. You don't want to just be aware of who you are, but you then want to transition that self-awareness into self-regulation. And that's where you're able to actually make adjustments and improvements and changes to who you are as a leader based off of the feedback and the awareness that you've gained from that self-exploration. And so when you say, well, I recognize that as a leader of my team, I tend to always show up late to meetings. Well, then you have to start regulating that. Or you might say, I recognize as the leader of my team, I might have a domineering personality and I don't really give people an opportunity to speak up or to weigh in. Well, you now have to regulate that. It's not enough just to stop and say, well, I'm aware of it. That does no one any good. You now have to regulate it. And so as you go forward in your leadership, especially as we go into the new year, I really just want to encourage you, lean into self-exploration, lean into self-awareness, and lean into self-regulation, and you will become a better leader. Peace.